Hey there, listeners. Welcome to the Nerdy Photographer Podcast. I'm your host, Casey Fatchett, and in this special episode of the Nerdy Photographer Podcast, it's a bonus. It's a bonus episode. We're talking about the new Threads by Instagram app. Yes, that's right. Just what you wanted, a whole new social media platform to think about. And if you're a photographer or a podcaster, I know I have a lot of podcasters in my audience as well, you're probably wondering, do I want to spend more time on social media and bother with a new social media app? Is that something I want to concern myself with? The answer is most likely probably yes. I've spent some time on it in the last 5 days. It's already got 100 million plus users in a very short period of time. And there's a reason for that, and we'll get into it quickly. Not going to waste a lot of your time. We're going to jump right into things. And people are really super excited, and they're posting a lot. There's like people are posting a lot of stuff. This is a direct Twitter competitor. I mean, as much as they'll say like, "Oh, we're not trying to compete with Twitter," it's pretty much like a very similar interface in some ways. Another thing that we'll get into in a little bit, but it's also it's very basic. It's text based. There's a lot of damn it, gotta start again. My first impressions of this app are that it has a very, early Twitter sort of vibe. It's got late 90s, early aughts chat room energy. It's very frenetic. People are posting all the time. It's kind of hard to keep up with things. We're going to get right into my pros and cons of the Threads by Instagram app. Okay, so the pro. It's real easy to sign up. You got Instagram. All you have to do is use basically your Instagram profile photo, bio, link. You can just automatically use it. You can edit things once you're in. But it's very easy to sign up. You can automatically follow everyone you already follow on Instagram, and that's a good way to or you can choose to like not follow certain things because maybe you don't want to follow everybody that you already follow on Instagram, but that is a way to have kind of a built-in following for a lot of people. Because that is very ingenious way to start off a social media platform, because people are automatically getting that sort of those dopamine hits of like, oh, look at all these people who are following me who were already following you before. And you don't feel like you're having to use up all that energy that you normally do when there's a new social media platform and you're like, okay, I got to start from zero again. No, because you've still got a lot of people who are going to just automatically come in because they followed you already. So maybe you're going to transfer from Instagram to Threads. So hopefully you're going to get that. So it seems very rewarding. Automatically, it's getting you hooked in. There are some concerns that, if you decide you want to get rid of the Threads app, you have to delete your Instagram as well. My guess is that's going to change pretty quickly. That's not going to be that. There's a lot of kinks, and we're going to get into them that they're going to work out. But be careful. You may also realize that there are some people who aren't signing up to follow you right away. That could be a little bit of a letdown when you're sitting there going, oh, why aren't these people following me? Here's a con. This feed is all over the place, and I get it. We're 6 days in. They're still figuring things out. First of all, it is not chronological. Second, it's full of people you are not following. Like, you can go in there and like say, oh, I'm going to follow all, say, 500 people that I'm already following on Instagram. Your feed, the first day, you're probably maybe 10% of your feed is going to be people that you just followed. I'm not sure how the algorithm is working right now. Some folks were saying it's picking up on images that you liked on Instagram, and like figuring out those accounts or hashtags that are things that are similar, and then feeding you accounts that relate to those things that you liked or viewed or whatever searched for on Instagram. However, it doesn't really seem like that, because each day I am served a new group of accounts in my feed. And even after liberal use of the block and mute features, 80% of them are still not accounts I'm following. One day, I think this was like the second day that the app had been out, my feed was almost entirely brands, like major brands, Wendy's and things like that. Wendy's got a pretty funny social media manager, whoever's doing that, are very fun. So whatever, that's okay. But like the rest of it was all brands and major influencers. The Kardashians. I have never followed a Kardashian. I can say I've never watched keeping up with the Kardashians. I've never liked a Kardashian post of any kind, but my feed was full of all of the Kardashians, every one of them, Kris Jenner, all the kids. They were all in my feed. I'm like, what the hell is going on here? Like, why am I getting all this stuff? I've never liked this stuff. So I muted all of those accounts. The next day, it was entirely full of rap and NBA accounts, like different NBA teams. And yeah, again, things that I'm not commenting on or following in my Instagram feed. So I'm not sure where that stuff is coming from. So you kind of never know what you're going to get, at least right now, when you open up Threads. It could be, who knows what's in that feed when you, but for some, that may be part of the excitement. You might like the fact that, you don't know what you're going to get. If you want to take more control over your feed, like I said, you're going to need to really get into the mute and block features, at least for now, to kind of tone down on that stuff. I've managed on, at least on the Nerdy Photos feed, about 50 to 60% now as people that I follow or photography related stuff. Here's a big thing for photographers. Major pro for this platform. The photo quality is great. Images look super crisp on Threads. They don't look compressed. Twitter had one of the best resolutions of any social media platform anyway, and Threads is easily an equal, if not better. Also, you don't got to crop anything. And whatever ratio your photo's in, it's going to post. And unlike Twitter, which gives you like this weird panel, like, and crops things in a panel like preview, if you post multiple photos on Threads, it has this very smooth, beautiful carousel feature for displaying multiple images. It's super smooth. It's great. It's a very minimalist interface, and photos look great. Will they eventually change the compression as millions and millions of images are getting shared? Possibly, but for right now, things are definitely, looking great for as far as image quality, which is something that photographers are always concerned with, as well as other visual creative types. Next thing, censorship. Apparently, Meta is using a pretty strict hand when it comes to censoring on Threads. So there are words that are not allowed, including common swear words, which raises some flags. While, you can understand something like, we don't want hate speech on this platform. We don't know what the lines are and what the discourse is going to look like on this platform going forward. Pro. People are interacting. This is the time. And I've mentioned this about Clubhouse when it came out as well. While everyone is super excited and spending a lot of time on this app, this is the time to connect with and interact with people you haven't had the chance to do so with otherwise. This is also strengthening the connections with people that you are already in a network with. This is a shiny new thing. This is the mentality. People are going to spend lots of time on this app, at least probably for the first couple of months. I made a ton of connections with people on Clubhouse when that first came out, and I'm using Threads in the same way now. I'm trying to branch out and meet more people, especially for the podcast. I want to get new guests on the podcast. I'm targeting people I want to have on the podcast. I'm interacting with them so that eventually, we have a history, and then I can ask them, if they want to come on the podcast. If you want to interact with someone, go and comment on one of their threads. Become part of the conversation so they see you regularly, interacting with them, and you can talk to them. Who knows? This is how you do it, folks. In that way, it does feel a lot like Twitter used to be. People with huge followings engaging with people with smaller followings regularly. For the moment, the playing field wide open. It's the Wild West on Threads right now. So get out there. While there's also, I gotta say this, there is a sense for me where I kind of laugh where these people go like, oh man, I've already got 20,000 followers on Threads in like one day. It's amazing that I've built such an incredible following so quickly. Like, dude, you have 400,000 followers on Instagram. You pump the brakes a little bit on, I got 20,000 followers already. Look how great I'm doing. Yes, it's happening quicker because people can just say, yeah, I want to follow that person. Now this last thing, as far as, I don't know if it's a pro or a con yet, and it might depend on you. Like the interface, like I said, is very minimal, very bare bones. Looking for trending topics? Don't exist. That does not exist on Threads. And maybe that's a good thing, honestly, because a lot of that stuff I feel was somehow advertising and could be influenced by groups if they wanted to get things trending. Want to use hashtags to search for a particular subject? Doesn't work. No hashtags on Threads. Analytics, there are none. Looking to follow accounts that discuss topics that you're interested in? Good luck. Discovery is limited to accounts that Threads serves up to you and accounts you may want to follow. It's like a little carousel. It's like people you may know on Facebook, or it's very similar to like how the Instagram app like suggests new accounts to you. For some people, basic is what they want. They want something that's very simple. And I'm sure that there's going to be some more functionality added to this as this app evolves. This is all well and good, but a little more functionality now would be nice, especially since you kind of know what things people are going to want, kind of like going into an app. But we'll see. It's only been out for a week, so it's going okay so far, I guess. Now, here are my sort of final thoughts, and as well as some advice for interacting based on what I've seen so far. This platform is very young, and that's both good and bad. The discourse is a little unhinged, and people are kind of embracing that vibe. There's sort of like the someone put it like, LinkedIn is sort of your business vibe, and Threads is sort of like, happy hour after 3 or 4 drinks sort of energy, and you can be a little bit more open and crazy here on Threads. Maybe that's the energy we need right now, but just take a little bit of advice. Don't go in there posting the same content that you post on every other platform. It's not going to work. And what I mean by that is like if you create a video and then you just like post that video to Twitter and to Facebook and to Instagram and to TikTok, don't come into Threads because people are not going to react to it. There's no, like, seriously, I have seen my hours spent on Threads so far, people just, they're tuning that sort of thing out. They want interactions. They want threads that, basically, they want funny stuff. They want people like not pitching themselves. If you're pitching yourself, like in your business and things already, it's kind of a get out of here sort of vibe to that. Like people don't want to hear it right now. It's like, oh, like let us enjoy this. We're gonna have some fun. First, maybe that's the case. Maybe that's how it's gonna be. Going forward on this app. Go in, have conversations with people, have fun, make connections. Every once in a while, like the rule of thumb used to be on Twitter, was sort of like every 10th post can be about your business or your work. Don't get upset if you don't get a lot of interaction right away. Like I said, there's people's feeds are not necessarily showing the people that they follow yet. That might change. Who knows? Even though they're following you, they might not see your work yet. But then, post your work, but like don't do self-promotion, if that makes sense. Don't like be sending out links to your blog posts or things like that. Posting your work, that is what I've been seeing for photographers, is getting the most interaction. I think that for the podcasters who are listening to me, I think where you're going to start having conversations with people, whatever your topic for your podcast is, I'd start like finding other people who are talking about the same things and like just getting into those conversations and building a followership through that. It's going to be very organic here for a while, folks. Speaking of following, you can follow The Nerdy Photographer on Threads at The Nerdy Photo. You can also find my photography business account there at KCF Photo. That's at The Nerdy Photo and at KCF Photo over on Threads. Come on, folks. Let's get together and stitch something up. Until next time, stay safe and stay nerdy.